Hi guys, this is Sam from Fluid Social talking to you from outside London Bridge Station, and today I'm going to talk to you about basically a really easy way to just get more dates. So a lot of guys think that there's this correlation between the amount you're going out, approaching, talking to people, the amount of dates you're actually getting out of that, and then how your standards should rise. Essentially, we have this thought as guys that when we're doing really well, when we're meeting loads of girls, our standards are naturally going to raise and we're going to end up being more attracted to more and more beautiful people, and that seems natural. But actually there's a sort of reverse correlation that I found to be the case, particularly in my experience, which has been that when I'm not really going out, when I'm in a more introverted or introspective space, maybe I'm working really hard on my writing or filming or something else, then what tends to happen is my standards actually go up when I'm not getting action, when I'm not going on dates, when I'm not meeting people, when I'm not really going out into the world. And actually when I am in that sort of extroverted, outward thinking space and I'm meeting loads of women and I'm going on loads of dates, what tends to happen is my standards of conventionally what is attractive tend to go down to the extent that a greater number of the women that walk past me are attractive to me. And I think this is something to do with being kind of sexually engaged. So as a guy, if you're not getting anything, if you're not getting any action, if you're not taking action, you start looking at a conventional standard of beauty like, is her face symmetrical? Are her boobs the right size? Has she got the right hip to waist ratio? And you start to logically break down whether or not you think this girl is good enough for you. And it's because you're not really open to yourself at the time. You're not sexually involved, and so you're more judgmental of yourself, and so you put that onto them as well, and you become more judgmental of women. But when you are going out and you're going on dates, what generally happens is you start to find momentum. You start to feel like it's less pressure, it's less stressful to actually take the action, do that commute in the evening, spend a bit of money on some drinks if that's what it is, and actually go there. The more you do it, the easier it becomes, the less stress you feel in engaging in that process. So what tends to happen is the people walking past you, you're more fluid, you're more sociable, you're more open to that communication. Eye contact becomes easy, a little smile isn't something you're scared of anymore, and you generally start to open up more to the world, and also more romantically. You start to find more people attractive. And when you do this, you start to find the old saying, when it rains, it pours. It's like you start seeing people, you start going out, you start going on dates. What tends to happen is it becomes easier and easier and easier, and you end up dating a lot of people. You end up meeting up with a lot of women. And you don't really judge them on the dates. You're not thinking, oh, this one is an 8 out of 10, and yesterday she was a 9 out of 10. You don't fall into that logical, judgmental mindset, which is actually just not a good place to come from and not a positive reflection of yourself in the moment. You just start having fun with them and looking for their nuances and looking for what you actually find interesting about their personality. You really connect with them and you start to judge them much more on how receptive they are to banter, to humor, to connection, to things like this. But that comes from actually taking that first action. So let me have a look at some of the reasons why guys are saying, oh no, I won't go and see her. So they'll say, oh yeah, I got her number, but maybe she's not my type. Maybe it's not worth me spending this time and this money and this energy on actually making that decision and going out tonight. Maybe I should stay in and do my work. Maybe I should plan my day tomorrow. Maybe I should do some stretching. And generally when we take that decision not to do the more active thing, the more mentally tiring or stressful thing, which in this case would be going out on the date, we actually slack at home as well. So you might sit down and put a YouTube video on. An hour and a half later you find like, oh fuck, I could have been on a date and I've pretty much wasted this evening. Or you've done like 20-30 minutes work in the time that it's taken you an hour and a half to do like a tiny bit of work when you could have been much more productive doing that elsewhere. This is actually an experience that I had recently. I almost didn't go on a date. I met a really beautiful girl and I said, oh no, but tonight I need to stay in. I need to prepare for tomorrow. I need to plan. And I just, at the last minute, just said, fuck it, let's go. Hopped on a train, brought a pen and paper with me, and all of that work I was going to stay at home and do, I ended up just writing down. I ended up just doing it all on the commute. So that hour commute that it took to get there and back, I managed to do all of my work. And actually meeting up with that girl, I learned a load about her culture, I learned a load about her, I got really into the swing of it, and it led to loads of more super cool interactions afterwards, loads more approaches, loads more connection with people that I met after that moment, because you took that first step to go out when you weren't sure about it. So the best advice I can give you guys is that if you're not going anywhere, if you're not meeting up with people, if you're not expanding your social circles, if you're not meeting women, if you're not going on dates, you have to start somewhere. So don't be judgmental. Don't have this, expectancy of how perfect, how symmetrical, how much your type the other person is. Just go and meet them, because it's going to make the next interaction and the next dates and the next personal connections way more free-flowing, way more easy. And what you'll tend to find is, after you've been seeing quite a few people over a period of time, is you kind of look back on it with a little bit of perspective, and you start to think, wow, some of them were really my type, some of them were really beautiful, and some of them maybe not so much, but it was all fun. It kind of blends into just a blur of joy and fun and happiness. So try not to be too judgmental. Try not to say, these are my standards and this person isn't good enough for me to go and see. Go out and see them, see how you feel afterwards, because generally you'll have the snowball effect of it getting easier and easier and easier, you becoming less and less judgmental of yourself, and so less judgmental of the girl in front of you, and you will be sleeping and dating much more attractive women, whilst also dating maybe some of the women that you wouldn't typically go on a date with. The guys that are meeting the most attractive women, in my experience, are also meeting less attractive women, because they're simply less judgmental and they're more open to those social scenarios. So get the ball rolling, start somewhere. When you're thinking, shall I or shan't I, just get a bit of nous. Whatever work or planning you are going to do it on the commute, go out and meet the person, and everything will get easier from there. This has been Sam talking to you from London Bridge Station, and I'll see you in the next video. If you guys are interested in taking a look at my product, I'm going to help you guys turn the numbers that you're getting from your approaches in the street into dates, into real meetings with women. So if you're interested in that, find the link below the description of the video, and I'll see you in the next video. Sam out.